Guys, what is up? This is Matthew Davis, me once again. Welcome back to another movie review, aka After I Saw. Obviously, you know what it's going to be. It's The Batman, of course, because in my last video, I did a vlog of me going to see the movie. I had no point of doing that whatsoever because, of course, I was already going to review the movie, and now I'm reviewing the movie. So, The Batman stars Robert Pattinson, which was kind of a controversial choice when it was announced that Robert Pattinson would be playing Batman. I think it might be due to the fact that people couldn't get over his performance in Twilight. Guys, okay, alright, let me tell you something, okay? It's 2022. Twilight died 10 years ago. He's moved on from that. Besides, he dissed the movies. He hates the movies. He admitted that he did not like the movies. Plus, he worked with A24 with films like Good Time and The Lighthouse. So, yeah, he's definitely redeemed his career. Same with Kristen Stewart. She's made great films after Twilight. I mean, she's already got an Academy Award nomination for her role in Spencer, which I really think she deserves. So, yeah, you know what? It really doesn't matter anymore. I mean, Robert Pattinson, I think, is a great actor. Okay, no matter, I mean, tons of actors have. That's not the point. But anyways, the Batman is out to find this mysterious man known as the Riddler, and throughout the film, he's like playing this little game of like exactly who the Riddler is, and he keeps finding notes throughout which are kind of like puzzles. I mean, of course, he's the Riddler. So, of course, he's going to bring out a lot of riddles and stuff like that. He's going to get a lot of notes saying to the Batman and stuff like that. This movie is directed by Matt Reeves, who I think is a great director. I've enjoyed all of his movies, Cloverfield, Let Me In, the last two Planet of the Apes prequels. He didn't direct the first prequel, but he directed the last two, which I thought were better than the first. I still like the first, though. But of course, you know, it's a Batman movie, so whether or not it was going to be good or not, I was going to see it anyway, because I think this movie has a lot of potential. A lot of people were a little mad because, or a little upset that it wasn't going to be rated R. It's PG-13, and it's nearly 3 hours long. It's the longest Batman movie, but honestly, it kind of feels like the shortest, because this movie is surprisingly pretty well paced, okay? The movie definitely feels Batman, it looks Batman, it does not shy away from its looks. It's grim, and at times, despite its PG-13 rating, it can get pretty brutal, despite the fact you don't see a lot of blood. I mean, there's like minimum amounts of blood, but it was actually very more tense than I thought it would be. I mean, the Dark Knight trilogy was also very tense and brutal, despite it not having a lot of blood. I think easily the most disturbing thing they ever did in The Dark Knight was Two-Face's look. Because when I watched Dark Knight for the first time ever, I just looked away because I did not want to see that face. Like, it really terrified me, and it amazed me how they could get away with that in a PG-13 movie. But there isn't anything quite as disturbing as that in here. But no spoilers or anything like that. But there is a lot to love about this movie, okay? Robert Pattinson is, in my opinion, one of the best Batmans to date. He's both a great Bruce Wayne and a great Batman. Probably even better than Ben Affleck. I'm not saying that because I didn't really like Batman versus Superman. I mean, he's one of my favorite parts of that movie, and I liked him in the Justice League, both the regular version and the Zack Snyder version. But right here, I think he's definitely one of the better, newer versions of Batman, in my opinion, okay? He definitely feels Batman. He is very, and the tone, the way he looks, the costume design, it is all amazing. Zoe Kravitz, I think that's what her name is also great as Catwoman. Selena, forgot her last name, Selena, but I'm just going to say Catwoman. She's terrific as well, and their chemistry together works surprisingly well, though they don't have as much screen time together as I predicted because it's nearly 3 hours long, so I kind of got my hopes a little up too high for that matter. But still, when they are on screen together, I really enjoyed what was going on. Also, the Penguin is in the movie, who's played by Colin Farrell. He was terrific as well. And honestly, he has a really good cast, and I feel like everybody does phenomenal in this movie. And like I mentioned too, the movie doesn't really feel like 3 hours. This movie is surprisingly very well paced. I mean, it basically gets to the point and doesn't really try doing much to set up for a brand new franchise. I mean, it kind of does seem that way towards the end of the movie, which obviously I'm not going to spoil, but yeah. Honestly, this does not feel like an action movie. I mean, there isn't a whole lot of action going on screen. I mean, when it is, it's not very like super special effects and slow motion effects or stuff like that. No, it feels very gritty and very tense. This honestly feels a bit more like a horror film because there are some really tense moments that might definitely scare some kids if they do go and see this movie. Like, especially towards like the first like 10 minutes or so. The movie gets very disturbing and it gets very like thriller-ish. The movie plays out a lot more like a thriller in a psychological way than it does a flat out action film. It kind of reminds me a bit of like Seven mixed with Saw, mixed with The Dark Knight. Like there are so many things that this movie kind of reminds me of. And I absolutely love that it reminds me of those movies, even though it's not as disturbing. Now, I guess in terms of problems I do have with the movie, I kind of would have liked to seen a bit more of the world of Gotham. Like I kind of wanted to be a bit more connected to it than I did because there's a lot to this Gotham that I would have loved to see more of. Like Batman does fly in the movie, but we don't see like big scopes of it. I kind of would have liked to seen like a bit more of what this world has to offer in terms of more Batman characters. I mean, of course, the Joker's not in the movie, but that doesn't matter because he has his own movie. So yeah. But in the end, guys, I really enjoyed the Batman. Okay, it certainly is one of the best Batman movies to date. It's not the best Batman movie, but I will say it's definitely top five. It's gritty. It has suspense and it's basically what most people would love about Batman. I mean, he's the Dark Knight, and this is probably the darkest Batman film to date. I mean, back then when Batman Returns came out, people were, really skeptical about letting their kids see that because, of course, the disturbing imagery and, the sexual appeal of Catwoman. But just let them watch this movie and beg to differ because this makes that movie look like I don't know, a Disney animated film or a Disney live action film. But yeah. But guys, the Batman, I definitely recommend giving this a watch. If you're a massive fan of the series, then I do not think you're going to be disappointed with this one. That's what I hope for. So hopefully you'll enjoy it too. And not to mention the fact that this is only in theaters. Warner Brothers, I think, is done with the HBO Max and theater thing that they were doing because this is only in theaters. And when I went to go see it, there was quite a bit of people. So I think it's safe to say this is going to do very well. I mean, hell, Spider-Man made over $1 billion, was breaking records. So hey, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Ward out.